Success is a function of how you surround yourself. And what he really meant was that how important it is to surround yourself with the right people, with people that's even better than you, people who are very diverse, etc., etc.
Hi, and welcome to another episode of the peopleHum interview series. I'm your host Neha Murthy, and let's begin with a quick introduction of peopleHum. peopleHum is an end-to-end, one-way integrated human capital management automation platform, the winner of the 2019 Global Cody Award for HCM that is specifically built for crafted employee experiences and the future of work. We run the peopleHum blog and video channel, which receives upwards of 200,000 visitors a year and publish around 2 interviews with well-known names globally every month. We have with us today Ramiro Garces. Ramiro is an experienced human resource consultant with a demonstrated history of working in the consumer goods industry. He is skilled in career development, HR consulting, coaching, deferred compensation, and culture change. Being a strong media and communication professional with an executive education focused in the driving performance through talent management from Harvard Business School, we're extremely happy to have someone of his stature to talk to us on our interview series today. Welcome to peopleHum, Ramiro. We are thrilled to have you.
Thank you so much. Very glad to be here and be part of the series.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So, jumping right into the questions, starting with a rundown through your journey. As a global HR consultant, you've been working in the industry for a long while now. Can you share a bit more about it and the insights you've collected along?
Absolutely. I came from a finance background, and a sophisticated may sound, at the end of the day, 2 plus 2 is still equals 4. But anyway, I'm from finance. I spent some time in finance, and then I went into a sales function. I spent time in sales, I spent time in marketing. And then in marketing, I moved into the HR world. And it was quite an experience at the beginning. HR during that time, it was more a function where all you had to do is fill forms, a lot of rules, a lot of restrictions, and basically that was it. But as the HR world function continues to evolve, now has become, or became for me anyway, a place where I really wanted to stay. And the reason why I went through many different functions within the business is because I really wanted to learn not just one particular function, but I wanted to have at least an idea of what was going on in the entire companies. I was very fortunate to work for during my professional career, 4 major global companies with operations in basically all over the world. And I had an opportunity during my time with those companies to travel around the world and visit there and spend time with the people, local people, and learn more about the cultures and so on and so forth. So when I made my move to HR, I was able to get a little more knowledge of what really taking place in the business world. Unfortunately, sometimes a lot of HR people, they only know about HR, and which is fine. But once you move there into the function and you get a little more knowledge of what's really going on in the different areas of the business, I think you'll be able to add on more into your HR function. So in a nutshell, basically, that's part of my journey. And my journey has been, I think the HR world now has evolved so much compared to, I remember 25, 30 years ago when I first started there. It's like I said, it was just restriction rules, write a lot of rules and so on and so forth. But now, truly HR has become, as we call it now, business partner. Anyway, so that's a little bit of myself and how this journey really started in my life.
That's a beautiful journey. And as you've seen it completely evolve like over a 25 years and you've hold an expertise of it, right? And like we'd love to learn how you like what's your take on employee engagement and how has it evolved over the years? And additionally, what newer developments can one anticipate with respect to where the world of HR is growing now?
Yeah. Oh, okay, that's a great question. Uh, employee engagement. I mean, I recall employee engagement has been in a lot of companies for many years. Unfortunately, in the beginning, uh, we always heard the mantra for a lot of companies are, employees are the most important asset. That's what we always heard. That's what we always knew about it. Unfortunately, not many companies follow through. It was more like a mantra or more a saying. But when employee engagement start evolving and companies start realizing that, oh my goodness, employees who are truly engaged makes a difference, that's when the evolution of employee engagement really has started. And nowadays, we believe that employee engagement is truly part, or it has to be part of the business strategy. Uh, I cannot see nowadays with this world so competitive that your employee engagement is not included in your business strategy. It has to be there. So it has evolved throughout the number of years where companies realize we only just paying lip service to our employees. And then they start realizing engagement really makes a difference. Many years ago, I was traveling, I think it was throughout Europe, and I saw a sign, a big sign, a billboard with three happy animals there. But underneath, it had a saying. It says there are three kinds of people. One, those who make things happen. Two, those who watch things happen. And third, those who wonder what happened. And I truly believe that statement, when I read it, made it, a big differences in how myself, I was looking at employee engagement and how companies start looking at employee engagement. Because employees who are truly engaged, they make things happen for the business, for the organization, for the company. And there are those who are just watching things happen, and those, unfortunately, who just wondering what's going on, what's happening, right? So I think those two groups, the watch and wondering, are the one where companies are starting to move in that direction and see how we can bring them into the engagement world, if you will. So employee engagement, again, evolved throughout the years. And nowadays, I guess, like I said before, it has to become, or it has to be part of the business strategy of any organization if they wanted to remain successful. Because that is the key. Engaged employees makes a company very successful. It's about the people. I always say that in any business strategy, you have to have three elements. What is your value proposition? What is the people proposition that you're going to have? And what is the profit proposition? But people has to be there. So people makes things happen for any organization or business.
Right. That's I completely agree to it. Like for any organization to win their goals and win their mission that they have set them for, it's very necessary that they win their employees first, and that can be done only by making them engaged in the work.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And everything starts from the top. That's another big, you were asking me about how employee engagement has evolved throughout the years. And I think one of the things that probably I need to mention is that engagement, employee engagement now starts on the top. It's not just a program. It's not just an HR program like used to be, because engagement started was like, okay, let's ask the employees what is the satisfaction that they have and these and how the benefit look like. But it has evolved now where it started from the top, from the CEO of the company, it started moving down. And that's a big differences. And that has helped the HR function to become more involved in that processes of employee engagement. But it really had to start from the very top of any organization in order to be very successful and also in order to be long term. Because unfortunately, a lot of companies made the mistake to start an employee engagement program and it lasts for maybe a couple of years. And then after 2 years, it goes back and everybody forgets about it. But it has to be for the long term if you want to be competitive, if you want to be successful.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And talking about employee engagement connects me to another key aspect that you widely talk about, and that is the culture change. So, what do you think leaders can do to imbibe and ensure the culture of growth and resilience within their team?
Well, absolutely. As I said before, it had to start from the top. It has to trickle down. But leaders, as such, uh, leaders had to walk their talk. We always hear about that. Leaders had to walk the talk, meaning they had to be able to convey trust. That's one of the key ingredients, and we probably heard, this is not nothing new that I'm giving you here today. But I mean, if that leader is not a trustworthy leader, nothing is going to happen. So leaders today need trust, needs to be able to bring that credibility into their teams, into the organization, need to be respectful of the team members. And also they have to be very fair in what they do and how they do it. So employee engagement with the leaders is something that they had to be able to start doing and also walking their talk in order to ensure that it's going to be very successful. Leaders has to be able to come to a point and take the team and says, we're going to go in this direction and I'm going to go with you. And in my own experience, I see leaders who started very well, but they never walked the talk, and unfortunately, they failed.
Absolutely, that's so true. And in order to earn trust, we need to first show them that we are trustworthy as well as leaders.
Absolutely. Transparency, trust, inspire transparency, or transparency inspire trust. And another thing that I believe leaders had to do much better is on the communication front. You know, in the past, when employee engagement was evolving, was a lot of communication. There was a lot of newsletters. There used to be the CEO forum, uh, a lot of messages and bulletins and all that kind of stuff. But communication nowadays, it has to be on a one-to-one basis. And communication from the leaders, another key aspect is they have to be able to listen and very, very good to the employees. And that transparency is going to help them get more commitment from their own teams.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that. And shifting gears to the current scenario, now that slowly offices have started opening up, what are some of the facets of leadership that one must inculcate, especially in the post pandemic workplace?
Well, I think during these difficult times that basically the whole world we're going through, particularly last year, because things are getting a little better because of the vaccines and all that kind of stuff. But one of the things, at least the lessons that I've learned from all of this, is that companies, organizations, we always had to be ready for the unknown and for the unpredictable, or for the thing that just can happen tomorrow. Unfortunately, last year, a lot of companies were caught by surprise, meaning they didn't have really a good plans or what situation was developing last year with the pandemic. That unfortunately, many companies nowadays, they out of business, they no longer exist, and unfortunately, they were not really prepared to handle this situation. During my professional career, I never had a pandemic, to be very honest. This is the first time that I see something that is worldwide. However, with the experiencing elements of that can cause a lot of problems, for example, major devaluations around the world, that can really impact your own business, your company. And if your organization is not well prepared in how to handle unknowns, well, you're going to have a very difficult time to really, or you're going to spend a lot of difficult time going through all these different scenarios. So I think learning lessons to be learned from this is always try to be prepared for the unknown. Always had to have, and that's why I truly believe that when you have a workforce that is really engaged, committed to the company, I think the people themselves, the employees themselves, will help the company overcome those difficult situations that may arise down in the future. And and once again, that's why it's so imperative that we continue to be like yourself and many other members in your team, which I love the title that you use, like an evangelist of being, proclaiming, really, if you will, employee engagement really is one of the keys for any organization, for any business to sustain, to grow, et cetera, et cetera. So hopefully we will never have another pandemic like we experienced in so far. But nevertheless, we need to be prepared for another, maybe not pandemic, but who knows what other thing might be around that not necessarily might be medical or on the health side, but could be something else, could be on the economic side. What about politically, and so on and so forth. So always be ready, be prepared. And the more you help your employees to be engaged, I think the outcome would be a lot of positive. And that's why, again, it's all connected to one another. Truly, we need in the organizations great leaders who can take their teams and their members in the right direction.
Absolutely. As you said, it all curls back to one thing, that is employee engagement. If you have your
Yes,
employees engaged, you can survive anything that comes forward, like anything, like is it a pandemic or any political change, anything. You can just handle it if your employees are engaged and motivated towards your work.
absolutely. I used to say that our culture, which is part of the engagement, is truly a business weapon. Engagement is a business weapon because that's what makes the difference. That's truly what makes the difference. That's why our people are our greatest asset. And I like to say our engaged employees are truly our greatest asset.
That's a beautiful saying. As you said, employee engagement is the important weapon, and it's like the strongest weapon that can ever be done.
Absolutely. I've seen it. Like I say, I experienced in 4 different global companies where I travel all over the world, and I was involved in many different fronts, and particularly in my HR world. And and I tell you, I had to. That's why I'm also an evangelist. I preach. I'm very passionate about this because I truly believe. I see that it truly makes a difference. It truly makes a difference. And that's why I'm glad to see that many companies nowadays, compared to in the past, are really moving in the direction of employee engagement. Many companies are truly find out that engagement employees who are engaged are more productive, more committed to the company. They become really your brand. I remember uh, General Electric and Mr. Jack Welch, when he used to be the CEO of that company. I mean, employees who came from General Electric, they became really was the employer brand. Everybody wanted to get hold one of those guys or one of those people because truly, it gives you an employer brand. Uh, he's very well known, to develop great leaders who went to many other different companies, other organizations, and really made it happen. They truly made things happen. Yeah. So and at the end of the day, employee engagement, you want to hear from your employees. And one of the greatest things that I heard, particularly in the last company that I worked for, was when your employees, when you travel and you visit the different countries and you speak to from the lowest employee in the brackets to the highest employee you have, and a common sentence or a common word to say, a day here in this company is well spent. I love to hear that when your employees tell you that. A day here is a day well spent. And then you ask yourself why, because they felt, they were part of the family. They were part of the company. If I may, let me say one thing here, because again, the last company that I worked for too, we used to have the Sunday question. What was the Sunday question? We really, as our employees, there was almost 12,000 employees throughout the region, that on Sundays, they needed to ask themselves one particular question. As particularly here, well, most all over the world, most people, when Sunday is coming around 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock at night, a lot of people complain to say, "Oh my goodness, and tomorrow is Monday, and I had to go to work. I had to get up and go to work." Monday, it seems, is not the favorite day of the week for a lot of people. So we, as our employees, we ask them, on Sunday, please ask yourself a question. And the question was very simple. How do I feel going back to work tomorrow on Monday? Now, if the answer was yes, I want to go, great. But if the answer, you feel that I just don't feel like going back to work tomorrow, Monday, we need you to go back to work on Monday. And the first thing that you need to do, go and sit down with your leader and talk to your leader and say, last night when I asked the Sunday question, I felt like I was not ready to come to work today. And engage your leader in a conversation and find out why is that you're feeling like that. Now, it could be something personal, and we're willing to help you as well. But it was something related to your job, to your work environment. The leader needs to know and needs to make those corrections. So that was just to give you a little insight of when employees are truly engaged, all these barriers of communication with your team leader stops because there is trust with that individual, if you will. So that was the famous Sunday question that we always ask our employees. And believe me, sometimes I felt, I don't want to go back to Monday tomorrow. And I had to sit down with my own team leader and explain why. But anyway, it was also a lot of fun anyway.
Absolutely. That solves a lot of Monday blue moods for sure.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So but you had to build that culture of openness and trust, in order to get there. But you can do it.
Right.
So a day here is a day well spent. That's what we want to hear from our employees.
That's really beautiful. And coming down to the last question, before wrapping up, any quote that best describes your feeling towards the future of work, workplace, and you?
Well, I love quotes, by the way. I have, I don't have it here. Well, I have a whole thing about that I had written quotes that I have, that I like and I've seen in books or whatever. But one keep in mind, the one that come back to me is my previous boss from my last company. He used to have a quote all the time. He will tell everybody, and I'll never forget. He says, "Success is a function of how you surrender yourself, how you surround yourself. Success is a function of how you surround yourself." And what he really meant was that how important it is to surround yourself with the right people, with people that's even better than you, people who are very diverse, et cetera, et cetera. And so that was one of the quotes that I remember, my boss, that and there is another one that I love, that he said that never be afraid to try something new. Remember that amateurs built the ark and professionals built the Titanic. So I love that quote too, because it make you really think that sometimes we are afraid to try something new and fear takes over, or the unknown, that, well, is it going to work or not? But at the end of the day, dare to take those risks, because at the end, I think it will pay off for you or for anybody. I love, uh, to encourage people to dream, have big dreams, follow your dreams. If you follow your dreams, most likely you will get there. If you don't dream, well, nothing's going to happen. So do a lot of dreams. They will take you there. You fulfilled your dreams.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Ramiro. It was a delightful conversation and a lovely time talking to you. A lot of new, fresh
Oh,
perspectives.
thank you so much. I enjoyed the time here, and I wish you and the entire staff over there all the very best and great success during this year 21.
Thank you so
So,
much.
all the best. You take care.
Thank
Bye
you so
bye.
much. You too. Bye bye.